Public libraries get a bad rap for being outdated institutions in a modern world. What people don't realize is that public libraries are champions for equity, diversity, and access. They are beacons of hope, sharers of knowledge, and builders of community. Come along as we show you what a public library is really like. What are you waiting for? Come check us out at Red Deer Public Library. This is our story. Be a part of the story. When many people think of a public library, they think of a building filled with books that you can borrow. And while that is still true, most public libraries these days offer way more than just books. For example, did you know that Red Deer Public Library loans video games? Or that we have a toy lending library? Modern public libraries are so much more than just books. And if you haven't been to your local public library in a while, you might not realize all the new and unusual programs, services, and items that we offer.
Hey, my name's Rochelle. I have been at Red Deer Public Library now for over 23 years, and I am a Public Services Assistant Level 3. Okay, so the toy lending library has been around for years. It actually was here before I started. I took it over when I came. So inside there's going to be different toys, different categories. So there's like vehicles, there's going to be food, and that's a really popular one because you can get things like waffle irons and picnic sets and all this that the kids can play with. For little guys, there's shape sorters. So there's all kinds of different things in there. And they are meant to be played with at home and not in the library. So when you come in, the parent must be in there with the child. You cannot send your child in there by themselves. You choose however many mom and dad say it's okay to take home, and you take them home for 3 weeks, play with them, bring them back to us, and get some new ones. Let's go into the toy library, friends. This is our awesome toy library. So as you can see, all the toys are in bins. You take it out with the bin, and it has the different sections. So there's animals, early childhood, there's vehicles, there's motor skills, so they can do things like put their shapes in and then have to, kids can do this better than me apparently, and then you just stack them so it helps them with their coordination and everything. And then we've got some miscellaneous things, and we also have educational things. So there's like some sight word cards, there's sequencing, so if you're helping your child learn about sequencing, you can come take out some cards to help them with that. There's some mathematics, subtraction, division, addition, and multiplication cards, so all kinds of things in here. We do have more than this, it's just a very, very popular spot.
In addition to loaning out toys, part of the library's role is to encourage the development of literacy skills, especially early literacy, which teaches young children the fundamentals needed to learn how to speak, write, and read. One aspect of this is offering programs that encourage kids to read, especially those who might be shy or hesitant readers. One strategy Red Deer Public Library is using to help encourage these children to read is to utilize a facility service dog for a program called Sit, Stay, and Read with Katya.
I was thinking about bringing Katya today to this interview, and then I thought, okay, maybe not. Red Deer Public Library is such a great place, and that's one of the things I love working here, is because the staff and the board are always open for whatever we can do to make library the welcoming and inclusive and accessible place for everyone. And historically, we've had lots of dog programs in the library. We had Reading Tales program, which was employing volunteers from with their dogs, and kids could register and come and read to a dog, and it was very, very popular program. And And then our Reading Pulse program also had its resident volunteer service dog who had some time on her paws to volunteer at the library. And her name was Isha, and she volunteered with Reading Pulse for 4 years. She happened to be my son's service dog, but she had some time to work in the library, and it was a great addition to Reading Pulse program, and lots of students really blossomed when they had an opportunity to read to a dog. And this was something that really opened my eyes to the fact that, and to the research that is there, that highlights how much of a difference reading to a dog can make to a child. And it's well documented. There are multiple articles who say that it's working. There is a little bit of magic to it, and which I cannot put my finger on. But again, I think pandemic brought so many new opportunities to the library. And 2 years ago, I started being a puppy raiser for Katya, for Aspen service dogs. And then I thought, wouldn't it be great to have our own facility service dog, as opposed to working with volunteer therapy dogs and kind of scheduling that and planning programs with volunteer therapy dogs is a little bit of a headache. And I pitched that idea to our CEO and our library board and friends of the library, and they have been super supportive. And I also pitched that idea to Karen Jock, Timberland's branch manager, because I said, okay, Karen, would you like to be my partner in that? Because we would need to have a couple people who can work with a facility dog to make it really popular program, and that we could offer it to more people than just if one person could do it. So that's what happened 2 years ago, and here we are. Katya graduated last week, and but as Karen and I were talking about it, it still feels a little surreal, because Katya was trained in owner-trained program, which means that since day one, she has been training on the job. So she has been in the library, she has been participating in a variety of library programs. The library staff contributed a lot to her training. So it's as if she's been always there, but now we can say, so she is actually fully trained, fully certified. So she has her contract with the library that she has to fulfill, and what we hope to achieve with having facility service dog and training, first of all, we are here to support those students and families who and kids who love animals and want to be more confident readers, and reading to a dog does it for them. It does not do it for everybody, but it does it for a lot of kids. We also plan to use Katya for going out for outreach programs, like Karen has been using her taken to high schools during exam time. Katya always participates in large library programs that are based on literary themes as a part of kind of interest that draws interest. Just 2 weeks ago, she was Baby Yoda in our Star Wars Reads Day, which was a super popular station, and she was giving little pieces of Yoda wisdom to kids. She would nudge the cube, which had little Yoda wisdom tucked in the corners, and then after the cube would stop on the floor, the kid would take and would get just a very special saying just for him. So it was a very, very popular station, and Karen and I are very excited about what else we can plan for that. I can definitely say that having Katya in the library was a major moral boost for the staff. Like lots of library staff have been very happy to have Katya as a workmate, which is kind of additional bonus. But mainly what we found through 2 years of having Katya on site training and participating in library programs is that she brings a very friendly furry face to the Radio Public Library. Our mascot is a dog too, so we hope that she will bring some people to the library who wouldn't come otherwise, but they are animal lovers, and dogs and books go together.
So with Katya, our facility service dog, our biggest goal is to help kids to be more confident readers. The library is all about literacy still, and Katya puts people at ease. It's a motivation. Kids love to read to her, and kids who might be struggling with reading, they are able to pet her while they're reading to her, and it just gives them more confidence. She doesn't judge them. Sometimes when people ask, like, what's the purpose of Katya? How does a dog help with reading? And I might say to them, will she hit you with her tail if you say a word wrong? And no, she won't. And of course, that just makes them laugh. So Katya is kind of our goodwill ambassador, and really, she's helping us to create more confident readers.
Libraries are always thinking of creative ways to reach all members of their community. One unique program RDPL offers to try and target adults in the community, especially those who might not necessarily think to come into the public library, is called Storytime for Adults. This is a unique program that's held at a local microbrewery every few months, where library staff bring a fun selection of picture books, poems, short stories, and novels to read to adults out loud while they enjoy a drink. It's also a great chance for people to socialize and meet other members of their community with similar interests.
At one point, I think I was just looking for ideas for programming. And I'm sure that it was Tatiana that had sent out some links to various libraries and some of their programming ideas, and I happened to come across this adult story time, and I let it percolate, a little bit. I thought it was a great idea because the whole idea behind being an adult and not being read to anymore, and losing that part of childhood, because even audiobooks are not quite the same thing. So it might just be fun. And the way that this particular story time worked was that it was at a brewery. So again, percolating a little bit. I knew that I would have to have somebody to partner with, and Deb volunteered. And now, of course, we've got Alyssa on the team as well. So that we can alternate. So that was sort of the inspiration for it. And then we contacted a brewery or two, and it was Red Heart that really came back with that enthusiasm of, we would love to do this with you. And so we scheduled one during Culture Days. And I think both Deb and I went in with trying to figure out what exactly we were going to do and what kind of stories we were going to do. And we really didn't have a theme that particular September one. And we really didn't know if we would get people to come. And we really didn't know how well it would work. And now we seem to have really hit our stride. And of course, after the September one, even though it wasn't in the link, we did a seasonal shenanigans, as we call it. So our second seasonal shenanigans will come up very soon. And it's fun. We try to find funny stories, or in the case of our Halloween one, maybe a little spookier and scarier, and just to have people come out and have a night out and have some fun and promote the library and read stories. We always include, and this was Deb's idea, we always include a children's book. And it's just a lot of fun to have that.
Something awesome about public libraries is that they are continually encouraging people to explore, discover, and learn new things. One way that libraries attempt to do this is through developing non-traditional collections that customers can borrow, much like they would borrow a book. Much like the toy lending library for children, we have unique options for adults to borrow as well, including a seed lending library, a collection of musical instruments to borrow, as well as other items like tech toys, Arduinos, Apple TVs, and Chromecasts.
I'm Kim, and I am a creator and part of the programming team at Red Deer Public Library. The Community Seed Library started as a conversation with community partners like Rethink Red Deer. We wanted to encourage the community to keep and share open pollinated seeds that are grown locally, and to promote an awareness of the food system and their part in it, and to promote a culture of sharing, self-reliance, and community resilience. We wanted to bring everyone into the local food system. So we started with a group of 20 growers, and we had seed which was donated from PV Mart, and that seed was grown to start the first collection of seeds for borrowing. So we started the seed library in 2022, and we had over 300 packages of seeds. The first weekend we had 50 seed orders filled, and we filled all of the seed orders, and that seed went into the ground, and now we're collecting seed donations from anyone who had grown anything from the seed library, and those who hadn't used the seed library but wanted to share their seed, if it was open pollinated, if it was, something that had good nutrient value, if it was something that was meaningful to this community or to them, then we wanted to add that to the seed library. So we now have packages and packages and packages to lend for the 2024 spring season. So the first day of spring, we will have all the seed orders to be filled. So anyone can browse the seed catalog online, and then they can place an order, and then they can pick up their seed at one of the branches. An example of the library of things would be the musical instrument kits. That started as a partnership with Guitars for Kids, and that is a local group that tries to get instruments into the hands of anyone who wants to play. And Don Rootley worked with me, and he donated through Guitars for Kids a guitar and a ukulele, and that was the start of the musical instrument kits. And we cataloged those, and they started to be borrowed, and they have not been in the library on the shelf. They tend to be borrowed, and they're in constant circulation. So they have been added to with a second guitar, a banjo, and a violin. And so there's quite a number of different kinds of musical instruments for anyone to try. As well, we tried to add more music books to the library collection so we could support these new musicians as they were playing their instrument. And then at one program, I was sharing that we had these musical kits to borrow, and that if someone wanted to play an instrument, there was nothing holding them back. They could borrow one from the library for 3 weeks. And someone who was attending the program was so kind as to say that they had a banjo that they hadn't been using, and they would like to share it with the community. So they donated their banjo. And so that was added as a musical kit too. And we now have 2 banjos. So it's a kit that we started with. We wanted to see if there would be interest in it. And of course, musical instruments take up space, And in the library, that can be tricky. So we want those instruments to be circulating and not simply being stored in the library. And they seem to have found their place, and they are borrowed quite regularly.
If you're looking for more practical items that can help you around the house, the library offers home energy audit kits so you can see how efficient your home is in terms of heating, cooling, water usage, and more. RDPL also has carbon dioxide monitors, which have risen in popularity after the COVID-19 pandemic to monitor indoor air quality. The library also offers radon test kits, which can be used to monitor your home for the presence of radon gas, which is an invisible, odorless, tasteless gas that can be present inside your home and is the leading cause of lung cancer in non-smokers.
Okay, so radon kits are a kit that the library carry that our patron, including myself, can borrow. The radon kit is used to detect any radioactive gas emitting from, say, a basement or from the ground of your home. And you can borrow this kit from the library, take it home, put it in your basement or somewhere in your house for a little while. I think you get to borrow it for 3 weeks. And in 3 weeks, it'll give you an accurate picture of where you are on the scale of how much radon is emitted in your house. And it's an odorless, colorless gas that can cause lung cancer. And so I thought, we have these kits, so I'll take one home to see, where my house is along the scale. And what we discovered that it's the radon level at my house was probably double the legal or acceptable rate of radon, which really alarmed us, right? And so I ordered a kit, a new permanent kit, because according to the literature I read, you need to measure your house for about 4 months in order to get an accurate reading for radon. So I did that through the website that the library provide on a BiblioCommon that's attached to our records. And so I bought one, tested my home, and at that point we realized that we needed to call a company to come in to do remediation. So we discovered that, if it wasn't for the kit that I borrowed from the library, we would have been, breathing in radon for a long time, and who knows how long. But now that I have the remediation done, my house is the radon is so low, it's rarely even readable on the reader. So I'm feeling much better for the health of my family, knowing that, there's no chance that we would get cancer from radon.
And that's not all. If you look around at other public libraries in Alberta and even across Canada, you'll find that public libraries have something to surprise and delight everyone.
So my name's Brianna Enos, and I'm the Events and Innovation Manager at Red Deer Public Library.
And I'm Candace Putnam, the Brand Manager at Red Deer Public Library. There's some other libraries out there offering really cool stuff too. We can't do everything all at once, but we do aspire to, have some other cool things. Some libraries have tool lending libraries. There's some that lend out like baking
Pans?
things. Yeah, baking pans. If you just need to bake one thing one time instead of going out to buy, a specific baking pan, you can just borrow it from the library and then return it. I think that's genius.
That's awesome.
So yeah, libraries are always thinking outside of the box.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yep. Some libraries these days also loan passes to different community attractions, whether that's, the local museum or local rec centers, which is kind of a cool way, especially if you're new to a community, to go test out one of the amenities before maybe deciding if purchasing a pass or something like that would be a good fit for your family. I think there's some communities that are maybe closer to the mountains who loan out hiking equipment or camping equipment.
Snowshoes.
Exactly. all that cool stuff. So really the sky's the limit, well, and also space. Yeah. In terms of all the cool things we could lend. But again, this is another time where we really take into account what the community wants. And if there's something that Red Deerians really would like to see us lend, that's something, we would definitely be open to hearing about, because we're always happy to add to that collection, of course, as budget and space allow. And I think it's just, trying to figure out what people want and what would be most used.
Join us next time as we discuss the challenges that Red Deer Public Library has faced over the last few years and what lies ahead.